Have you ever had a difficult conversation? Have you been avoiding one? Do you even know how to initiate one? We're going to discuss all of that and more on this episode of The Twin Tapes.
Let's twin into it.
It's the Twin Tapes. We just made you do a double take.
Double take.
It's the Twin Tapes, and we sitting at a table for two.
What it do?
What's up?
I got you in the cut. We are back.
We're back with vengeance for episode 8.
Honestly, I'm feeling really full off of the blue pill right now, so I don't even know if I can...
Too bad you don't got the money to show for it, am I right?
I don't know if I can deal with you as an immature 10-year-old because I'm 45.
But peep game, I'm not an immature 10-year-old. I'm a 10-year-old with the mind of a 25-year-old, specifically me.
25. Ha ha ha. Respect your elders, especially those with money in the bank.
My jaw was on the floor. Shut up.
Listen.
Respect your elders.
Hey, I'm older in real life too. Fun fact, Charisse is older than Jay by approximately a minute, give or take. My mom's story switches up
year by year.
Year by year, but we do know it is a confirmed fact.
It is.
That I am the older twin.
It is.
So everybody tell Jay to shut up. But welcome back, guys. It is episode 8. I'm Charisse.
I'm not. I'm younger.
Who are you, though?
I don't know.
Great. Okay. Charisse is back with the 8th episode of the Twin Tapes. Fun fact. Okay, we're doing a little feature about Charisse. Fun fact. The number 8 is my favorite number.
Okay.
Do you want to ask me why?
Why?
So in the first grade, we were tasked with doing a strenuous assignment of...
First grade?
Correct.
Strenuous. Got it.
Strenuous. Picking our favorite number, drawing that number, and personifying the number.
That's interesting.
So I drew the number 8 with a top hat and a cane. And I
Old 8.
Old 8.
Old
you know,
8.
he had a little top hat. He had his eyes, a nose, and a mouth.
Or maybe young 8 and he pulled a Benny Button.
I drew him with one hand on the hip, one hand on the cane.
Okay.
And I drew him with his legs crossed. So literally
So he was a showman.
He was... Think of The Greatest Showman.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He was definitely a jack of all trades. He was wise.
Okay.
He could just, pick it up whenever. And every time I think of the number 8, I think of the number 8 with the cane, crossed legs, one hand on hip, one hand on cane, top hat.
And someone who can just...
turn it on.
Got it. Got it.
So the number 8 is my favorite. So if you were born on the 8th, you have a special place in my heart.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or if you too like the number 8, gang gang. But we're here with, who are you again?
Jay.
Oh. Today we're joined by Jay. And this is episode 8. And we're going to talk about
difficult conversations.
Difficult conversations. I'm about to have a difficult conversation with Jay, though.
Okay.
Do you guys want to know why?
Why is that?
Because he stays interrupting me when we talk on the show. Difficult conversation. Let's go. Let's hash it out. Difficult for you, not difficult for me.
Got it. When you hear difficult conversation, what is your initial take?
When I hear difficult conversation, I think of, I think drastically.
Okay.
Even
Fair.
though my personal experiences with
Are
difficult conversations
minor.
have not been drastic. But I think of, yelling, screaming, and shouting.
Wow.
Because that's what's portrayed in the media.
Okay. I mean, that's fair considering you say that you don't really have difficult conversations or just that the difficult
ones that I've had
right, they're not
are the polar opposite or the initial take.
Mm-hmm.
Difficult
right, okay.
conversation in my mind. You bleep bleep, you bleep 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 bleep, and there's curses flying and
so Maury Povich meets Jerry Springer
possible
meets
fists.
Okay.
we're ending up sad, brokenhearted, and
maybe broken boned at that point.
At this point, right? Yeah, like my mind automatically goes to like gruesome. Like, this is real difficult.
Okay.
You feel me?
Okay.
Which is just funny.
Yeah.
But not in the same turn, because there are some difficult conversations that end up just like how I'm thinking.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Well, when I hear difficult conversations, I think the exact opposite of you.
Okay.
When I hear difficult conversation, I just think of like a nervous wreck trying to avoid a conversation because they're
a nervous wreck.
A nervous wreck shaking in fear. I don't want to have this pit in their stomach trying
teeth
to
chattering.
Yeah, trying to or teeth clenching, nail biting, forehead sweating, palm itching. I don't want to have this kind of conversation.
Wow,
obviously not that drastic, but that's what I think of when I hear a difficult conversation.
You really painted a picture.
Just avoidance.
Avoidance.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good, because that's what most people do.
You know, like vomit on a shirt already, mom spaghetti type deal. You know? That era.
Do you have an example of a difficult conversation you've recently had to have ever, or something that you've seen or witnessed, possibly?
Okay. Well, we all know the classic, it's not you. It's me.
LOL. No.
I've had to have that difficult conversation.
I'm sorry, George.
But I don't understand. Things were going so great. What happened? Something must have happened.
It's not you. It's me.
You're giving me the it's not you, it's me routine?
It's not you. It's
me.
It's
It's not. You beep.
It was you.
It was you.
You drove me to this. What's wrong with you?
You drove me to the edge. I was standing on the ledge. Don't forget.
Never forget all the words I said.
But I'm not a rapper.
Nah, but for real. I've had to have one of those conversations before. As Jada Pinkett Smith would say, you know, I was in an entanglement.
Got it.
All right?
Got it.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
I was in an entanglement in my
For sure.
youth, in my prime time, and
it's the prime time, grind time.
Right.
You seen that little that little meme, that video?
Nah.
I'll show it to you. I know some of y'all know what I'm talking about. The girl with the green nails. It's the prime time, grind time. Anywho,
Your
continue.
face.
Because she literally does that.
So anyway, had to have one of those difficult "it's not you, it's me" conversations. I don't know who it was more difficult for.
Right.
Maybe her.
Yikes.
But it was a
Did she walk away in tears?
Well, it was via text, so God knows.
Oh, so you copped out.
So God knows at that point.
Got it.
But
you didn't even spare her the decency of an in-person conversation.
You want to hear the details, or you want to come up with your own conclusions? All right, so you're asking to show the Carfax.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
show me the Carfax.
Right, so this is what happened. I mean, briefly, I was seeing this girl, and clearly she liked me.
Okay.
I was like, all right. Let's see
the waters.
Testing the waters.
Right. Dip a toe in.
And it was pretty cold for the most part.
Oh, got it.
Pretty cold for the most part.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know if I want to get it.
But you know the classic, something to do and there's nothing to do.
Of course.
And then it just went south.
Got it. Okay.
It just went south. It was just a lot of, well, why are you acting this way? And this, that, and the third. And I'm like,
a lot of questions towards you.
Towards me. And I'm like, I barely know you. What is wrong with you?
Right. Like
are you an actual crazy person?
I put a toe in.
You're crazy.
Got it.
So there was a situation.
Maybe that's why it went south, because you called the girl crazy.
No. Wait. Did I say I called her crazy?
You said, quote, and I quote about
No,
a
I
second
didn't
ago.
say
Are
this
you
to her.
crazy? Oh.
No, I'm saying this is what I'm thinking. When I'm getting all these questions asked, like, this is what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't know you like this.
Got
This
it.
is crazy.
And
Why are you acting like this? I thought you were
Girls
cool.
don't like to be called crazy. Because then when you call us crazy, you know what happens?
You act crazy.
We get crazy.
Right. But I didn't say that to her.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, so I'm thinking she's an actual crazy person. Yeah, and then it just had to fizzle out.
Okay.
It just had to fizzle out, and I just had to be like, look, this is a little intense, and I'm not about it. So yeah, I don't really know if this is gonna work. Like straight up.
Right.
Right. Like this part, this is what I'm saying.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Yeah, I just don't think it's really going anywhere.
And you said it via text.
And I said it via text. I did. I can't front. It wasn't like out of the blue. We were already texting,
Right.
and I'm
No.
like,
It's just making me think.
Okay.
It's making me think of a lot of things.
So that was kind of awkward and difficult.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'll share a similar story.
Okay.
I had a completely different example in mind.
Okay.
But since we're on the topic of honesty, I've also had I had to have the same conversation with somebody in person. So
Ooh.
you took the easy way out.
I didn't
via
take the easy way. I took the segue out. Since we're texting, don't think it's gonna work.
By the
out.
way, you suck, and I want nothing to do with you.
By the way, not coming over tonight. Good luck.
And will never ever come back. So
See ya.
I had to have that same. It's not you, it's me. Conversation with someone in person.
In person, face to face. Old school.
Old school.
Old school.
I definitely was dreading it
Okay.
because the person at the time was just a little overbearing.
Okay. Was this something you were like mulling over for days?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I was very much mulling it over because when you I was older, so I'm thinking at the point where you had your conversation.
I mean, older. It's not like I was 16 or anything.
Right.
I was like 23.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we were around the same age.
Okay.
And you're having a conversation via text.
Oh my God.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, you're doing it the old school way. Respectable.
Not
Good for you.
old school. It's called respect school.
Yeah, old school.
It's called respect school. So I literally was here thinking this, let's try this out. Let's see what's going on. And it was just not working for me.
And it wasn't going on.
And that's okay. We live and we learn.
Because it is what it is.
Not everyone's gonna be your freaking ride or die soulmate at this point.
Right.
Especially in your 20s.
I mean, listen, if you find your freaking soulmate at 20, ruha, congratulations. But the rest of us are still working on it, okay?
She's not bitter at all, guys.
Not bitter, for real.
She's not bitter, she's better because of this.
Here I see in the comments, Charisse must be bitter. Truthfully, I'm living my
she's not
best,
bitter, she's better from it, all right?
I'm living my best single life right now. But at the time of this conversation,
TLC, shout out to them.
Dead. I was debating, how the heck am I going to tell this person the cliche, it's not you, it's me.
Right.
This can't go on because it's not
you, it's me. Yeah.
And I'm like, yikes. So, this was a conversation I mulled over, I would say minimum 2 weeks. Minimum.
Fair time.
Because, knowing that I had to do it in person, now I understand in order for yourself to feel comfortable, you are going to upset people. But at the time, I didn't want to upset anybody.
Right.
I didn't want to tell somebody that this is not something that I want to get into when they clearly wanted to get into it.
Right.
They wanted to twin into it, and I did not want to twin into it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I was I was mulling this over for a very, very long time, but you know, at the end of the day, words were exchanged, and I was just like, sort of similar to you, like, hey.
Hey,
it was like a check-in. Hey, yeah, about us. So
there isn't.
It's a little overbearing. I was like, we could be approaching clingy, but not really. And I just...
Is that what you said?
I did. Probably a little more harsh than I did now.
Gangster for that. Probably a little more harsh. Wow.
Probably. I was a little younger.
That's fine. That's fine. Cold world.
I'm established, distinguished, profound. But
better, not bitter.
Better, not bitter. Yeah, asshole. But no, I probably said it a little more harsh. Not gonna lie. Being honest, being real, authentic.
Look, you mad clingy, so stop.
And
how did it go? Come on. We're trying to listen.
I know. I mean, on my end, it went okay.
Okay.
I just don't think he was necessarily happy with
the outcome.
Got it.
Understandable.
You know, but I try to do my best, knowing that this was a conversation I wanted to have with this person in person, because I like from the beginning of like me growing up in communication, like I hate like shit over text never goes well. There's just so much room for interpretation and miscommunication that from an earlier stage, earlier than the peers that I was surrounded with, I was always trying to have better communication with folks. So even, you know, being a college student, like early college years, knowing that, no, this is a conversation I wanted to have in person. Although it was definitely going to be difficult for the both of us.
Right.
Like, I'm mulling this over. This is definitely something that this person is not seeing, you know, something that they don't want to hear. Like, I still was able to realize, like, no, this is something that needs to happen in person. Just for the best type of clarity. You know?
That's a great assessment to have about yourself at a young age, because as we'll get into it, people don't really like having difficult conversations.
Right.
So
needless to say, I mean, that happened, and I'm here now.
And you're better for it. You're
Survived
better
it all
it.
To tell a tale.
Yeah, hello.
But anywho.
So now, what about that situation, in your opinion, made it difficult?
Yeah.
What made that conversation difficult for you?
The uncertainty of how the person was going to react, for sure, made it difficult.
Yep.
Like, I'm about to, quote unquote, drop this bomb.
Right.
And I don't know how this person is going to react. I don't want to have it. So uncertainty of reaction, me not wanting to upset somebody. So while I was uncertain, I was still fearful, right? And that goes back into fear.
Right.
I was still fearful that I was going to upset them. So not wanting to upset them, and then subsequently fear. Yeah. Fear played a huge part. Yeah. Because I was scared. Like, I don't like, okay, who wants to deliberately upset somebody?
Right. No one is really, hopefully, right?
I mean, we got some savages out there.
Right. But for the most part, looking at the good in humanity, most people aren't.
Which is sometimes hard to do.
Right. Most people aren't setting out, like you said, to deliberately, intentionally hurt you.
Like, that was definitely not my goal.
Hurt is obviously a byproduct, but that's never the intention.
Right. And it was something that I was considering. Like, man, I'm going to hurt this person. This person is going to feel bad. I'm scared to hurt this person. Yeah. So, yeah, uncertainty, fear, not wanting to let the person down, or not wanting to upset the other person, putting their feelings ahead of mine. Right. And
mature,
then
sort of. But,
right.
but also to a fault.
Yeah, I don't think that, I mean, the earlier you learn that doing you is going to upset people, the better.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Those are definitely my three things those were my three components of my difficult conversation. So what about you? What about you? Because we literally had the same exact #twinning difficult conversation. What made it difficult for you?
Before I get into that briefly,
sure,
I'm going to touch on when you were talking about basically when you were breaking down what made that conversation difficult for you. When I was looking up some information about this topic, I came across three types of conversations loosely, right?
Okay.
Everything we find is loose. Take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
But three types of conversations as to why maybe some people don't like to have difficult conversations.
Okay.
And it's the what happened conversation, the feelings conversation, and the identity conversation. So briefly, the what happened is literally someone maybe having a difficult conversation, knowing, let's just say, you got in an argument with someone. Mm-hmm. And
that was going to be my example.
And you clearly know that person is not messing with you no more because of that. You genuinely don't know what happened. So approaching the conversation, right, that's a what happened conversation.
For sure.
Like, I don't know what happened.
Like, yo, what happened?
What's good? Like, what's good? Mm-hmm. Or maybe... And necessarily, you didn't necessarily have to have a back and forth with someone or an argument with them, but like, I don't know, maybe a friendship, relationship, whatever went stale. You got ghosted, and you're like, what happened? And approaching a conversation could be difficult because you don't know what happened.
Right.
Insert the what happened conversation.
Right.
The feelings conversation, which is our example.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm taking someone's feelings into consideration.
For sure.
This is difficult for me. I don't know.
You're taking the feelings into consideration, and the conversation is about feelings. We are not feeling the same way.
Oh, that's very true. That's actually a different perspective.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the whole conversation itself.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a way that you're not feeling, and I know it.
And I know it. And we have to have a conversation
about it.
And we have to have a conversation about it. And because I'm a decent human being,
right? I'm gonna have it.
No.
Oh.
I'm taking your feelings into consideration
right.
a little bit.
Right.
I don't want to crush you.
Right.
I don't want you to feel crushed because I'm
you.
not trying. That's not my intention. So that's an example of a feelings conversation. And then the identity conversation is when you're not necessarily avoiding a conversation, but a difficult conversation, and the impacts that it's going to have on you. Like, I'm about to have this conversation. How is this going to impact my job, my marriage, my friendship? Like, maybe you're having you are mulling over a difficult conversation with a boss. You want a raise, and you don't know how to go about asking your boss. Well, how is this going to affect my job if I ask him, or them, or you're in a marriage, bringing something up. How is this going to affect my marriage?
Yeah.
Like, what if?
Got it. How's it? Okay. Like your relationship with the person.
Yes.
I have an example of that.
Talk. This is an open conversation. Go.
I have a perfect example of
What's
that.
up?
Wow, I didn't even consider. That's so great that you brought that up.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of another difficult conversation I had to have. And you're going to remember it.
Oh, man.
So, I got a tattoo when I was 20.
Yes, she did. Yes,
I was living at home at the time. And it was something that I only told Jay about. I was like, yo, I'm getting this tattoo. And it wasn't no little heart on the ankle.
Face.
It wasn't no little wave on the instep of my foot.
An infinity sign.
Right.
Not making fun of anybody who has those tattoos.
Right. No,
but
no,
she's
making
just saying
fun,
what it was.
It wasn't in a little indiscreet, a little
minimalistic tattoo.
Minimalistic tattoo.
Right.
This was, I got 4 words right across my left rib cage, all the way through.
Hello.
So obviously you can see it. And this is something that I thought about. I wanted this tattoo for over a year. I was gonna do it. I set out to do it. I did it. You know that meme that's like, I ain't gonna do it, girl. I ain't gonna do it. I did it.
Right.
Well, I did it.
Hello.
And
you better tell it.
And I was like, I have to tell. My dad wasn't gonna mind too much. I already knew that. Just knowing him for the 20 years that I've known him.
Right.
I know he wasn't gonna mind that much, but I knew my mother was gonna mind. And I love you, Mom, because I know you're listening. But I knew she was going to mind.
It just is what it is.
Same as this, it's not you, it's me conversation. I was mulling this over for weeks. I was like, I got this done in the summer. I got it right on my rib cage where I'm wearing bathing suits and sports bras to cheerleading practice.
Because it's like, at some point, it's gonna be seen.
It's gonna be seen. It's not something that's always covered.
Right.
Like,
it's not like on your ankle and you always wear socks. Yeah. Or you can always wear socks. Right. Like, yeah.
Like, it's gonna be something that's gonna be seen. So I'm like, oh my God. Like, I really gotta sit down. I was hot. Right. I was hyperventilating. I remember going to Jay.
Crazy.
Like, I remember going to Jay, like, I gotta do it. Like, I gotta do it now. I was like, Mom's in her room by herself just chilling. I gotta do it now.
Like, get her done.
Oh my God. Wow. I'm like,
reliving it.
I'm reliving that because that was a big moment for me.
It was. I remember that. I forgot about that. But yeah, I remember that.
And, I just went to my mom's room. I was like, you got a minute? And she looked at me like, what is going on?
I'm looking at you like that now. I'm like, what?
I was like, hey, Mom, you got a minute? She was like, what? Because I don't do that. And I was like, can you pause your show? She was watching something in her room. I was like, can you pause your show? I was like, so I got a tattoo.
Oh, boy.
And she just turned and looked at me dead square in my eyeballs and said nothing. And I was like, do you want to see it?
Dang.
I don't remember what exactly she said. And obviously my mom's going to listen to me and like tell me her side of the story. It's going to be fun. But I don't remember exactly what she said. I ended up showing her the tattoo. And she just looked at me again, square, straight, dead in my face. Definitely a little pause of silence for fear. And she was like, well, it's nice.
Ooh, the side eye. Well,
right,
it's
the
nice.
side eye. Well, it's nice. And I was like, okay.
Minimal eye contact.
And I ran out of there as fast as I could. And I was like,
whoo,
it's over.
Wow.
But leading up to that, like, that was a difficult conversation.
That's
Again,
a great example. I forgot about that.
Me too. But that reminded me the identity. Like, I was like, how is this going to affect our relationship? Like, is she going to judge me? Is she going to think certain things about me? Is she going to not be a fan of it at all? Is she going to... And obviously, my mom warmed up to it now.
Of
I'm
course,
25 years old. I have 3 tattoos now at this point. Like, I'm going to get more. Sorry, Mom. I want to get more. A lot more. But it's just like that first one is something that... Again, young me, I knew I had to have this conversation in person for sure. This one had to be. I mean, I live in your house, right? So had to be in person.
Any other way would be crazy.
But it was just that was a difficult conversation.
Yeah.
And again, fear, unknown reaction.
Yeah.
And all of those things go into play. But so your example. Why was that difficult for you?
So, interestingly enough, okay, just to simply answer the question.
Right.
The reason it was difficult for me was because it had that whole situation just had gradually been getting, I was really taken aback, right?
Okay.
I was taken aback because this person was cool. She was cool. And then it just completely, it just started like my neck was just turning, like my neck was breaking at the things that were saying. That she was saying.
Yeah, you were like, this is not you, like how
or this is not what I thought, more so.
Right.
And I was just like, well, that's a sad thing. That's a shame. That's a real shame.
I'm dead.
But it is what it is, and it was like, well, this is not something that I want to be a part of anymore. Yeah. Simply.
Because what, I'm going to keep breaking my neck for the rest of my life?
Or it's just like, what? Lead you on? Right. And I know that nothing is going to come of it.
And then, like, bounce in a more horrible way, like, later on down the road, now that you're all invested?
Because I dragged it on.
For what?
For no good reason. For no good reason. So, yeah, I was not about to do that. So it was difficult
and
because...
heavy shade on the people that do that. Heavy. I'm coming heavy with the hammer. Don't lead people on. It's disgusting.
Already knew.
I said what I said, what I said, what I said.
And she meant that shit. But anyway, yeah, it was difficult because I knew it was something that had to come. Mm-hmm. And you already, you know the vibes.
YKTV. You know the vibes. You know the vibes. And you know them all. What's that girl from?
And yeah, F their feelings and
F their feelings because they will hurt you. And
right. That little girl was in her bag.
What song was that? Just so the people can know what we're talking about.
Kiana Lede.
Yes, canceled. Kiana Lede canceled. Just listen to it. Was the end or the beginning?
Beginning. That's how the song started.
Listen to the beginning of Kiana Lede.
Yeah,
I
canceled.
Freaking love her. Anyway, yeah. Sorry.
No, all good.
F them all and F their feelings. Sorry, okay. Next, going into
she was like, they will hurt everybody's feelings and them all.
I am a single queen. You know the fucking vibes. Fuck men these days. Fuck them all. They will hurt everyone's feelings and fuck them all.
Like, who hurt you, sis?
Right, you sound like you're about 13. Like,
right.
Who really hurt you? You really had 7 solid years as a whole adult. Like, what?
But anyway, yeah, it was something that I knew was coming, and it's just like, again, I'm a decent human being.
Right.
My intent is never
decent enough. You did it via text. I don't know how decent we can call it.
Listen. Still, my intent...
Listen, Linda. Listen, Linda, listen.
My intent is never to hurt anyone. So, naturally, I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So, obviously, it didn't really go that well. Mm-hmm. Because it was a lot of, I'm sorry, please.
Oh, not the begging.
Right, so.
Begging Benny. Fat Albert, for those of y'all who don't know.
I'm glad you didn't finish that.
I won't.
But, yeah, it was difficult in that sense. It was definitely the feelings conversation. Mm-hmm. I was taking her feelings into consideration.
And it was a conversation about
feelings. Yeah. It was far from identity, right? It was far from the identity conversation.
Right.
I was not concerned about how this is going to affect our relationship because
absolutely not.
The very reason I'm having it is because there is no relationship to be maintained.
For sure.
Right. And it wasn't the what happened conversation with me. Now, on her end, it probably could have been what happened.
I mean, it's same for me, right?
Right,
same exact situation. Well, what happened?
Right. The other person is thinking, well, what happened?
Right.
But for
that's
me,
interesting.
Right.
You go in having one conversation and someone flips it trying to have another.
Right. You know? And that's difficult for everyone around because
of course,
it's like, I already said what I said, so...
I said what I said and I said what I said.
Exactly. So those were the reasons why that conversation was difficult for me to have.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Definitely some similarities.
Yeah.
But some more possible components of difficult conversations would definitely be fault.
Of course.
Pinning the fault on one another, which is...
Yeah.
Let's just say blame.
Yeah. Yes.
Blame. And I'll go back to fault because if you're having a conversation where something is your fault, it's definitely going to be difficult. Especially if you are on the end where the conversation is being brought up to you and it's your fault.
Ooh,
and you know it.
Yes.
And you know it.
But now, but keeping the theme, right? Having difficult conversations.
Right. I mean, but that's a good point though, because when someone is in the wrong, when it is someone's fault, are they likely to initiate a conversation? Right.
You know? Sometimes no. Sometimes people know they're in the wrong and they are avoiding a difficult conversation because they don't want to take accountability.
Take some.
They don't want to take accountability for their faults. But you bring up a good point, though.
Because having a difficult conversation doesn't matter if you start it or if someone brings it up. You're still having it.
Right. Yeah, it's still a difficult conversation in progress.
If you are mature enough to sit and listen, then kudos to you.
For sure.
Because so many times in difficult conversations we just push.
Yeah.
It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Mm-hmm. And no one actually has to have a conversation, because a conversation it involves listening and then speaking.
Yes. Yes.
That's what a conversation involves.
Right.
Listening to understand, not listening to respond. Active listening. We are taught in school how to read, how to write. We're not taught to listen.
You're right.
Where was your listening lesson in school?
College.
Tips to listen? You were taught to listen in school?
Well, I'm saying, like, as I progressed in adulthood, like, you learn a lot of lessons in listening. So I say college. College as a satire example. Like, I did not learn to listen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But we learn to write. Like, you take English,
right.
You learn to write.
Right.
You take. I mean, beginning kindergarten through like 6, you learn to read.
Yes.
Most of your time in communication deals with listening, not writing or reading.
You're right.
And
we're not taught that.
I learned in class, one of my classes that I took this past semester, it's like over 40 or 50% of your time in a conversation is dealt listening, and you don't learn tips to listen.
It should be dealt listening. A lot of people don't listen. That's the problem.
Common quote.
Because you don't learn how to listen.
Right. Common quote is, you have 2 ears to listen. You should be doing twice as much listening as you do talking.
Fair. I've never heard that, but that's so true.
You should be doing twice as much listening as you are speaking, because you have 2 ears in one mouth.
Because a lot of people love to run at the mouth.
Love to talk, and no action.
Yeah, because like you said, a lot of people are maybe half-ass listening,
right,
just so that they can respond, just so that they can rebut, but you're not retaining anything that the other person is saying.
I literally had a half-ass conversation with someone that straight up told me, I didn't read anything you just said, but I'm like, so then why am I having this quote-unquote conversation with you?
I remember that.
And this is why I don't do text conversations. And my conversations are in quotes, because no.
Yeah. It's
like, you want to bring up something.
It's not constructive.
I'm going to respond. You respond back saying, I didn't even read the whole thing, but wait. You're that much of an idiot to say that?
I hear you.
How dare you?
I hear you.
I should have stopped responding at that moment. But my dumb ass didn't.
You weren't dumb.
No, that was dumb of me.
Oh my. It's a little harsh.
To continue, and it's okay, because I'm my worst critic.
Hey, that's fine.
There may be a worser critic out there of me, but
not worser.
Worser.
Worse. Not that.
Less worse. Worse. Worser than worse. I'm the worst of the worst.
For better or for worser.
Right.
Yeah.
Where, why am I going to engage with you if you don't have the decency to read, or let's say listen, if we were having this conversation in real life, to listen to everything I have to say?
Right.
There's no point.
It's not a conversation at that point.
There's not a conversation. So let's talk about, we talked about fault, we talked about blame. Another possible component of a difficult conversation is anger. You can be so angry, and that's what fuels a difficult conversation.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of an example of something where I was like so angry.
I really don't. And I was trying to think of one before the episode too, and I can't. At least I don't have a personal example.
Right. But anger definitely fuels.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a possible component of difficult conversations.
And continues that flame of difficulty.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I just think as a broad statement, love is so closely related to hate.
Love.
Whoa.
Never knew what I was missing.
Not a ballad on episode 8 of the podcast.
Keisha Cole.
All Alrighty.
Had to.
I know you did. You couldn't help it.
Couldn't help it.
I'm glad it's over with.
Jay hates when I sing. Twin Tapes Tribe, please know I will be singing more.
Not more.
So please comment on your best reaction of Jay hating when I sing. Thank you. Continue.
But love is literally intertwined with hate. And
you can't understand, in a sense, love without hate and hate without love. Because that's just a cycle of life.
It's a cycle of life because when you hate something, you care about it so much to the point you hate something. Because seriously, if you didn't care about it, it's like, all right.
Yeah, no, for
like if you
say
don't
that again.
If you don't have a deep rooted
connection,
connection to something, you simply don't care. So when you hate something,
it means that you love it.
It means that you, maybe not that you love it, but you are so deeply connected to this thing that it's so closely related to love, because when you love something, you're so closely related, connected to something.
Right.
So that's the only example that I can think of with anger.
Yeah.
Is
that it's like anger is like hate, and when you hate something, you love something. When you love something, you hate it.
Right.
Like when you're angry.
I can. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. I'm saying nothing.
I can
useful.
really only draw off of like my surroundings. My mom loves Snapped. She loves Snapped.
The show.
Yeah. Snapped.
On Oxygen.
Snapped. People who snap.
Jesus.
All right?
Yeah.
A lot of these episodes of Snap. And,
people who snap.
And this is an extreme example, but a lot of these people who snap are fed the F up with someone.
Yeah.
So I only say that to relate it to having a difficult conversation, because the people on that receiving end, usually the ones that end up dead and slaughtered, sorry to say it so bluntly.
Trigger warning. Jesus.
OD trigger warning.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
But listen.
Yeah.
Trigger warning.
I'm so sorry.
Trigger warning.
But that is a trigger warning. But the people on that receiving end, unfortunately, of that person snapping, they are definitely in the mindset of what happened. What happened? Or maybe they do know what happened.
I have an example to
What's
relate
up?
to your love-hate.
What's up?
Fun fact, I love Grey's Anatomy.
Okay.
Funner fact, Grey's Anatomy loves me.
Okay.
So I was just watching an episode, and it was a man that came in bloody, rushed to the ER. Miranda Bailey and staff were tasked to care for this man. He came in with a woman. They were chefs. And she said to Dr. Bailey, take the bag. Take the bag. Take the bag. This man's wife cut off his boop.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
Cut it off.
Yeah.
She had it in the bag. The sous chef had it in the bag.
All right. So you know she got sharp knives.
The sous chef was saying, oh my gosh, the wife is crazy. She was so mad at him. She cut off his boop. And, you know, it was a really crazy episode. They're going back and forth. But the sous chef, you know, we're in love and we're going to open our own restaurant. And,
So
you know,
she's delusional.
Rose-colored glasses.
Right.
And they take the man with the missing P to surgery. Catherine Avery, a.k.a. Debbie Allen, comes to the rescue. Surgeon of urology, fixes the man's P, and he's back in business.
Okay.
He's laying up in post-op care, chilling, recuperating.
Okay.
The wife that cut off
Yes.
his P
Yes.
comes in, and they do a huge embrace. They were about to call security. Literally, Bailey goes, Did you call security yet? And Dr. Ed was like, Yep, I'm on it. They're called. So they call security. she mutilated this man, and they're over in the bed making out. And the sous chef looks over and is like, ah! But like, love, hate. Like, I loved you so much. She came in and was like, we only said you could hook up with certain chefs, not your sous chef. How dare you?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, you right, babe. My bad.
Crazy.
That's the crazy part. But the part is, like, she got so angry because she loved him so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what?
Crazy.
That's literally insane.
No, and that's real life.
And fun fact, the sous chef ended up cutting off his newly attached pee after that.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a whole nother podcast. That's just a crazy episode
They reattached it for the second time. Just saying.
This is dumb. At this point.
It was a great episode. Don't come for my favorite show.
But anyway, moving right along with the possible components of difficult conversations. We've discussed fault. We've discussed blame. We discussed anger with that Grey's Anatomy example. But we already mentioned fear. But I mean, what about accountability? That's a big one. That's a big one. A lot of people don't like to take an L or don't know how to simply take an L and be accountable for what they've done.
It's sad because you know how many difficult conversations don't have to be difficult if you just own your fault.
Absolutely.
The first one.
And don't blame other people.
And don't get angry or fearful. All you have to do is own up to your shit.
That's all you have to do.
Are you serious?
Part of growing up.
Take accountability.
And take the L when necessary.
We're humans. We're growing. We're learning every day. Nobody's asking you to be perfect. No. And if someone expects you to be perfect, then you need to
separate yourself. Distance yourself from them a little bit.
But we're learning, we're growing every single day to be better people. So it's okay to be wrong. You're going to be wrong for the rest of your life.
Right.
For the rest of your life, you're going to be wrong.
But what matters is that you recognize when you're wrong and you move forward from that. It's recognizing and acknowledging when you're wrong as well. I think the acknowledgement of when you're...
accountability, and change. It was really, from episode 1, if you guys listened, it was realization, acceptance, and change. And it's the same thing
It's the same thing here.
It's the same thing here.
When you can, not only knowing when you're wrong, that's great. I think that's like step 1. But when you can acknowledge that you're wrong and be like, you know what? You're right. My bad. You're right.
Acceptance.
And it's something so small like that can go such a long way for people.
You know how much an I'm sorry can go? How long that can go?
It goes such a long way. It can go such a long way. And then maybe people wouldn't snap. Seriously, though.
And cut off people's peas in the kitchen.
All right. But for real, though. Like, it goes a long way. And unfortunately, some conversations are difficult for people because they don't know how to take accountability.
Right.
Or they're approaching someone who maybe you're having a conversation with someone and you know they're so quick to be defensive because they don't take accountability, and that could be difficult for you, and maybe that's why you're avoiding a conversation with them. But there are so many possible reasons as to why people don't want to or don't like to engage in quote unquote difficult conversations.
And I think how we can better communicate with folks is to simply rack it up. Just like episode 1. If you have not listened to episode 1, please listen to it. But I offer the same suggestion.
Yeah.
Rack it up. RAC. Rack. Realization. Realize whatever it is about the situation. 2, accept it. And 3, change it.
Yeah, change it.
Like,
that's the big one.
We're
That's the big
gonna
one.
do things wrong. We're gonna mess up. We're learning and growing every single day. So realize that, accept it, own it. Take accountability.
Yeah.
Own that shit and change your behavior. Because if someone brings this up to you and then you do it again, it's like, did you listen to what I just said?
Exactly. And then that's the vibe that
Change
you
your
give off to
behavior,
people.
right. And no
whether
one's
again, back to intention, whether that's your intention or not, that is the vibe that you give off to people, that you're ignoring them, you're not paying attention to them, you're not retaining anything from that conversation. When I was looking up, again, information about this topic,
right.
Some ways that we can work on these difficult conversations so that they don't have to be difficult. Several things that I found was begin from a place of curiosity and respect.
Yes.
So stop worrying about being well liked and truly get down to, okay, what is it that bothered you? Or if you are the one initiating that conversation, really have someone understand what the situation is. Why is the situation this way and XYZ? How we can improve, or this, then the third, how we can
back
avoid.
on the push.
Yeah.
The video I watched in class, it was two people that had their hands together, and when you're pushing, it's like, you're wrong. No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
No, you're wrong. So if you just lean into someone, now you're standing next to them.
Yeah.
And now you can see what they see.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you think I'm wrong? Why?
Right.
Step into somebody's shoes.
Right.
Be sympathetic and empathetic.
I was having a conversation with a coworker, and him and I, we were talking about something like that, and he was saying that there's a name for that, just what you said. There's a name for that. Don't remember what it was, but he was like, when you're in conversations, sometimes it's good to add on to what somebody is saying about you. Like, if you're like, Jay, you are ABC, and then I'm like, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm also DEF.
Oh, okay.
And that gives the person
validation that what they're saying is being understood and heard.
And it's also like, you are also internalizing on yourself, because we are not perfect human beings. You are also internalizing on yourself. It gives the person the sense that you're actually hearing them. And it also is a good way for you to reflect on yourself as well. Like,
for sure.
Well, if this person is telling me that, again, whether that was my intention or not, I'm clearly giving off this vibe that is opposite of my intention.
Right.
Let me internalize and be like, well, yeah, you're saying that I'm A, B, and C. Matter of fact, hold up. I'm actually DEF as well. And then it's just a better conversation from there.
Because you're listening to this person and you're reflecting. So let's listen, realization and reflection, let's interchange that.
Yeah.
And let's put that best to the situation at hand.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to realize, sometimes you need to reflect.
100%.
I feel like reflect is more inward.
Yes.
And realization is a little bit more outward.
Yeah.
So no, let's use that interchangeably and then rack it up for sure. Like,
Absolutely.
Let's reflect sometimes.
Because both of those things are equally important.
Right. And then, yeah, just like you said,
begin from a
with
place,
curiosity and respect, and let's be empathetic and sympathetic.
Right.
Let's see, like, okay, you're pushing onto me. No, you're wrong.
Right.
All I do is turn and I'm like,
Let's truly understand,
Why?
or really truly want to understand why this person is feeling this way. Usually, people don't feel a way for no reason.
Right.
And again, people need to put their pride aside. Forget
That's a reason.
That's
a reason. How can we communicate better? Put your pride aside.
That's true. Forget your intention. Your intention almost doesn't mean anything if that's what wasn't translated. I could say Sharice. I could literally be like, Sharice, those glasses.
Yikes, they do need to get fixed.
No.
Oh.
But like my intent was like, Sharice, I'm joking. Sharice, I'm joking with you.
Got it. Okay.
But you didn't take it that way.
Got it. I need new glasses stat.
Right. But if you didn't take it that way, it doesn't matter what my intention was because you didn't take it that way.
Right.
So for me to be like, well, I don't know why you feeling like that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to say it like that. I'm completely ignoring
my
you.
feelings.
I'm ignoring your feelings. I'm not listening to what you're saying. I'm not internalizing on myself. I'm not realizing that, hey, maybe I did say it in a way that could have been interpreted if I squint my eye and tilt my head to the left as
and spin
rude.
around and clap 3 times and to the left, to the right, to the back, to the front.
Right.
Sorry.
Maybe that was actually rude. I'm ignoring all of that and I'm choosing to be like, well, you shouldn't feel like that because that's not what I meant.
Right. You're like, but I didn't mean it. And it's like, okay, well then.
And then now for Sharice, this is a difficult conversation because I'm unwilling to lose my unwavering delusion that I could have actually hurt your feelings.
Like, hold up, everybody. This is not the Lion King. This is not Pride Rock.
Right. Meanwhile, the ironic part the ironic part in that example is that we actually both like your glasses because my intent was never to make fun of your glasses. I'm like, Sharice, those glasses. I could have meant anything by that. I could have meant like, hey, yo, those glasses, they're fine. But I didn't say it like that. You didn't interpret it like that.
Right.
And it doesn't matter because that's not how you took it.
Very good point.
I also, another thing that comes up is focus on what you hear, not what you say. Again, that's kind of what we just talked about.
Right.
What is the other person saying? What is the other person saying? They are saying this for a reason.
That goes back to active listening.
Yes, it does.
There's a trick and a tip that we learned in my class. There's an exercise you can do with somebody where you both say a short phrase and the person, so it's 2 people in the group. Mm-hmm. You say a phrase, I say a phrase, but I have to start the phrase with the last thing you said.
Got it. Okay.
With the last thing you said.
Okay.
So if I say, yo, my cheerleading practice went great. And you say, went great? Well, this day that I'm having is actually really cool.
Okay.
And I say, really cool? Yo, you know what was really cool? Is when I went to school last week and I ate a slice of pizza. Mm-hmm. You said, I ate a slice of pizza last night. And you say, last night, I was actually doing a Dougie with Soulja Boy. And I'm Soulja Boy. And you have to use the exact verbiage.
So you got to listen. You have to pay attention.
Have to
actively listen. It's an exercise in active listening.
Active listening.
Dope. I'm all for it. This sounds like a freaking game on Wild 'N Out or something.
Right, because that's the game of in the classroom.
In the classroom.
It was in the classroom.
Because if you repeat what somebody already said in the classroom, you getting kicked out of the classroom. But anyway,
kick them out the classroom.
No, that's a great example.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another thing, and I'll say these last points.
Yeah.
Rapid fire. Be direct. Don't put it off. And how about expect a positive outcome? A little mindset change.
I love the last one.
A little mindset change. So be direct. That's obvious, right? You say it. You put me on to this mentality. Rip the Band-Aid off. What needs to be said needs to be said.
Huge person of.
You are.
Huge proponent of that shit.
You put me on to that mindset. Be direct. Don't put it off. Right? In your example, you were kind of mulling it over. That serves no one, especially you, because you're the one that's a stress ball. Right? They don't know it's coming. Right. You're a stress ball.
They're like, lolly, lolly, lolly.
Right. They're still sleeping tight in their bed of delusion.
Every night.
Right. They're sleeping tight in their bed of delusion.
Not their bed of delusion.
Their bed of lies.
Jesus.
And the mindset change. Expect a positive outcome.
For real.
If we go into a situation negative, we expect it to be negative. You're literally
opening the door to negativity.
It's literally gonna be negative because you're not doing anything to make it positive, right? How can something be positive if you're not doing, forget the other person. If you expect it to be negative, you're not doing anything for it to be positive, then it very well could be negative because let's be honest, it's a difficult conversation for a reason. So if you're approaching someone with the, it's not you, it's me, and they get defensive and you're not doing anything to alter that, to kind of not sugarcoat, but to lighten the load, flip it to a positive, of course it's going to be a negative conversation.
Yeah. My brain just thinks, no, this is going to work out right. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be okay.
Me too. I'm kind of like that too.
I'm very much a glass half full type of girl. Like, the glass is not half empty and the glass is not empty. The glass is half full. I understand how some people could think that it's half empty, but it just makes life harder.
It does.
And less enjoyable.
It does. It really
And
does.
so if all I could do is say, you know what? It's not half empty, it's half full. And I'm like, me shifting my two brain cells a little differently.
Right. Shifting the perspective
can make the whole situation go better. Your mind is so powerful.
It is.
We don't use it enough to its advantage. There is so much of the brain that gets unused. So the brain that we have control over, the capacity of the brain that we can control and manipulate.
Right.
Yo, let's use that shit to our advantage.
Yeah.
Like, just you changing your mindset from negative to positive, your life is automatically better.
What's that quote from Shonda Rhimes that you've been on lately?
What? Which one?
Which one? Something decide it's gonna be good.
Yes.
Or whatever it is.
Yep. The Shonda Rhimes quote is, "We can choose to be afraid of it, to stand there trembling, not moving, assuming the worst that can happen, or we can step forward into the unknown and assume it will be brilliant."
If that doesn't sum up our topic, difficult conversations,
Facts.
I don't know what does.
Facts.
That beautifully
tag Shonda
fits.
Rhimes and everything that you do. I love her.
That beautifully fits our topic as to why conversations don't have to be difficult from the start.
Literally.
They don't have to be if you decide that it won't be.
Once you make a decision, that shit is etched in stone. Like,
it should be. It should be.
Right. I'm thinking of me, right? Like when I
right,
make
right.
a decision.
Right. When
And
you
I
make
didn't
a decision.
I didn't just get this way. It took me a while. Yeah, I decided to go to the gym and then decide not to.
Exactly.
But once you understand that decisions themselves are things that you are doing,
right,
and there is no teetering and
Right,
tottering,
right.
as Dad loves to say, over the line of the decision,
right,
and you're doing it,
it's done.
then it's done.
It's done.
It's
done.
decided.
It's done. Like this is what I'm like. This is what it is.
So when we go into a conversation saying, this is what I want to get across, this is what I want to happen, and it's going to be okay.
Right. It's already decided, and it will be those things because you're going to do everything in your power to ensure those things.
And I have some last minute tips to how we can communicate better. Is you be better. So many of us want other people to be better, and then us not change a thing. Like, you can't expect people to get on your level if you're not on that level.
Right. You can't ask for all the respect in the world if you're not giving any. Or you're giving a minimal amount and you have these expectations that you're not even meeting.
Like,
that's unrealistic.
You need to be respectful.
Right.
You need to keep your tone down.
Right.
You need to not get angry.
Right.
You need to prep yourself because some of us we have anger issues.
Yes.
Again, we said it in the last episode. We all got vices. We've got anger issues. We've got depression. We've got things as humans.
People are going through real things.
That's life. But you have to meet the person you want to talk to halfway. You can't if you want a positive result, you can't come in negative. Oh, you da 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 da. That's gonna end like confetti in a firework, like I just sounded like.
You can't can't expect a 10 if you're operating at a 5. That doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Like it just won't work. So,
and that's unrealistic.
The double verdict is 1. The twins have the same difficult conversation lined up.
It's not you.
It's me.
But it's really you. Sorry.
It's really you. 2, if not all the same similarities amongst the example, then just about the same similarities in terms of what made the conversation difficult.
Right, like why it was difficult for us.
Think about a difficult conversation. Go into it thinking about, okay, I'm not going to put the fault on this person. I'm not going to blame them. I'm not going to get angry. Nothing to be scared of. And I'm going to own my shit.
Right.
If you go in, even if you're bringing it up as in someone did something to you, think about the situation and think about anything you could have done differently and own it.
Exactly.
Because it's so much better when you go to approach somebody and you talk about something that you could have done better too.
Right,
even
exactly.
Even if the whole purpose of the conversation was for them to know about themselves, if you could say, you know what, I wasn't happy with what you did. It made me feel XYZ. I also could have done XYZ better.
Right, exactly. And that's what I was talking about. Sort of adapt their perspective.
Yeah.
Or adopt, rather.
Right.
Their perspective.
Okay, adapt versus adopt. Let's go.
Yeah, this person is saying, well, Charisse, I felt X, Y, and Z because you did X, Y, and Z, and you're right. And then you're like, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. And now that I think about it, I also did A, B, and C, and I'm sorry.
Right.
Or something. But just echoing your point, you're right. I think that's such a slept-on thing that not a lot of people exercise at all. And that's because a lot of people don't know. That would increase positive conversations immensely if people could really, genuinely see the other person's perspective.
For sure.
100%.
And allow yourself. Conversations are naturally, I'm pushing, you pushing, I'm pushing, you pushing. If you let the person push and you stand next to them and see what they're seeing,
right,
it will be completely different.
It would.
Open up your mind. Like, life is not rigid. There is gray. F this black and white mess. There is gray. Be objective.
Yeah.
What are people saying? Is it true? Think about it. Get off Pride Rock.
Yeah.
Stop.
And as we're talking, it's not all about you. You should do this. You should be objective. It's also when you're having these conversations, you too, you should encourage the other person. I really want you to see where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Can we try to do that? Can you just try to see where I'm coming from, how I might have been affected by that? I know it wasn't your intention, but I did feel this way.
It's so funny because we practice this between the two of us.
We do.
We have been working together for this podcast, and this is the most, I mean, listen, we're close. We talk a lot, but this is the most we've been like frequently in conversation with each other.
Right.
So we're naturally going to get into arguments. Y'all, we're twins. What do you think this is?
Right. Imagine living with a roommate, someone your age. Like yes, you're gonna bicker.
We've been getting into conversations and arguments lately because of this podcast, just because we're talking about more things.
Yeah.
The more you open the lines of communication, the more susceptible you are.
Right. The more susceptible.
Difficulty.
Exactly.
So oftentimes I'm like, Jay, can you just put yourself in my shoes. Put yourself, and that's, so let's talk about last segment. Let's talk about things that we can offer people, sayings and fragments and brief lines that we can offer people to say in their next difficult conversation. 1, put yourself in my shoes. Period.
That's great.
Empathy, sympathy, angle.
That's great.
Imagine if you, and then pose the question to that person with what you're dealing with. Imagine if your friend betrayed your trust.
How would you feel?
Imagine if I betrayed your trust. How would you feel?
Right.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
What is a line that you would offer people to say in their conversation about anything? I know, and first and foremost, be real. Say, this is difficult for me to bring up.
Admit it.
Say it.
Simply admit it.
This
There's
is
nothing wrong
difficult
with
for
that.
me to bring up, but I care about you, so I want to bring this to your attention. Flat out say what it is you got to say. So many times we don't say what it is we got to say.
I know.
Oh my God. Life is so short, and we be sugarcoating everything, beating around every goddamn bush. For what?
Because we're constantly trying to, take on this feelings conversation. I don't know how this person is going to feel. I don't want this person to feel this way. But if you are aiming to better your communication, I can almost guarantee that you will ensure that once you're done with the conversation, someone will know exactly how you feel, your exact intention, because you're going to communicate that effectively. No more do you have to, or rather no longer do you have to worry about people misinterpreting what you say if you say everything clear and concise and also get verbal feedback. Did that make sense to you?
It did.
No. And actually say that. Say that, though.
I'm freaking dead.
Like,
I thought he was asking me a question.
Like, does that make sense?
Right.
And if it doesn't, reiterate it so that they actually understand.
And not just reiterate, state it in a different way.
You're right, because a lot of times people are yes men. Yeah, and then they walk away from a conversation not knowing what the heck this person was talking
talked about this.
Not knowing what that person was talking about.
I love it. I use this with my kids all the time. And by kids, I mean the kids that I coach. And by kids, I mean the students that I work with. Work, and both of this is for work. I always reiterate, does that make sense? And leave room for them to say no. Because there's a way where you can say where it's like,
do you get it?
And they're like,
yeah. Right. Or it's, does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to you?
Right.
Be clear.
Be clear. Use an effective tone where they feel comfortable truly giving their real response.
Right.
Yeah.
The owner of my cheerleading gym is the most amazing lady in the entire freaking world. And when you leave a conversation with her, she says to your face, when I speak with people, they know what I mean. You're not walking away from a conversation with her guessing, estimating, guesstimating what she's saying.
And guess what? That's
crystal
100% by design.
Yes.
That is intentional.
It's crystal clear.
She intentionally wants you to know exactly what it is. Not left to interpretation, because that's what happens most of the time. Most of the time, you can't restate what that person said because you didn't understand it, and you chose to say, yeah, I get it. Oh yeah.
And she's like, nah, you gonna know what I'm saying.
Exactly. So, I mean, what would you say the double verdict here is then?
We are both definitely on the same page in terms of that. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Be clear. Be sympathetic and empathetic. And the difficult conversations you think you're going to have are probably not even that difficult.
Exactly. When you really break it down, it doesn't have to be difficult, and it probably isn't that difficult. So
it's you taking these things into practice. And this is a skill. This is not something that you're automatically gonna. A skill means something that you work on, something you practice, something you work towards,
something that you naturally get better at
once
with
you practice.
more practice.
So work on it.
So don't put off these difficult conversations.
Don't
be 100% direct with them.
Be me and rip the Band-Aid off. That's my slogan. Rip it off.
And expect a positive outcome
for sure.
Because now we've given you some tools to ensure a positive outcome. Put them into practice.
Facts.
Not just with difficult conversations, but with every conversation that you have.
Say what you got to say. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be difficult.
Ultimately, say what you have to say. Be direct, be frank, be clear, be concise, be effective, be receptive. Analyze all of these things. And like Cherie said, this is not a switch that you can just flip.
Yeah.
However, the switch that you can flip is the decision to be a better communicator.
Awesome.
So flip that switch to be a better communicator, but all of these things will be practice for you. And put them into practice. Apply them to every single conversation that you have so you can overall better your communication with other people.
And I leave y'all with Rack It Up. I left it with you episode 1, and I'm going to leave it with you episode 8, which is just crazy because obviously first episode is like awesome. Boom, boom, pow. You know, we doing this. Episode 8, my favorite episode. Not me bringing it back for my favorite number episode. Realization or reflection. Realize what you're doing. Reflect internally. What am I doing? Accept that. Accept it. It's okay. It's you. Own it. Accept it and own it. And change your behavior based on the situation you're in. Nobody's telling you to change you. Change your behavior.
100%.
Change it. Thank you for vibing with us. We know this was a good one. This was a long one. We had some gems for y'all. We have some tips. We had some tricks. And we really want you guys to implement this into your real lives. Practice it. Teach other. Tell somebody about this episode, because if everybody can get 1% better at communicating, the world is going to be a better freaking place.
A much better place.
Are you kidding?
Much better place.
Share it, and share it. This is Sharice.
This is Jay.
Thank you for listening to episode 8. Stay tuned for episode 9. We got y'all. Happy Turkey Day. We will catch y'all on the flippity flip.
We will catch y'all on the flip. Peace.
If you're enjoying the Twin Tapes, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube and follow our page on Anchor. Honestly, just tell a friend to tell a friend.
It's the Twin Tapes. We just made you do a double take.
Double take.
It's the Twin Tapes, and we sitting at a table for two.